having conversation about the future South Africa we want. And those matters that you are indicating are some of those. But that is not meant to stifle the work of government. The anti-corruption efforts are underway. We've had so many reportage by, for example, the SIU on proclamations that have been issued by the president, and also on the assets being forfeited for those that have looted the state, and those that have looted some elements of corporate sector as well as our own SOEs. There's a lot that is being done to fight corruption. There's a report that the presidency released not so long ago, giving an account of how much money has been recovered through the Zondo Commission, for instance. And that is a narrative that's often lost to South Africans. The issue was about the fact that we spent 1 billion or almost 1 billion rands on the State Capital Commission. But the report from the president demonstrates that triple of that has been recovered. In other words, it was worthy to have that particular commission. Then I will speak about the ongoing work that is being done by the Hawks, speak about the fact that South Africans now are actually coming forward to report instances of corruption at a time in history where it's never been done before since the 1994, certainly to my mind, where South Africans are waking up to say all of us are cognizant to keep quiet about instances of corruption, both in the corporate sector as well as in the civil society sector as well, and in government. So that is what I would say. The work of government must continue. The work of government must continue alongside the national dialogue. And the dialogue must feed into the ongoing work of governments in our country. Power?
Just a quick one before we go. Former ANC President Thabo Mbeki is not set to attend the national dialogue. For years he's been calling for the national dialogue. Just your comments as the ANC, and does this signifies, thank you, tensions between him and President Cyril Ramaphosa?
Well, I'm not aware of the tensions between, just to your last point, I'm not aware of such tensions. I certainly don't. The two presidents meet occasionally, including most recently at the National Executive Committee meeting, where President Mbeki was asked to make a comment on a number of issues that were being ventilated in that, and including this national dialogue. So there is no rivalry between the two presidents, certainly not at a political level. That will be the one thing. The second thing is, of course, to say that some legacy foundations have decided to pull out of this particular segment of the national conversation. I'm not certain that they've pulled out from the entire process, and there are a lot of work that is being done to ensure that the legacy foundations are encouraged to come back to this process. And they pulled out not of the national dialogue per se, but out of the preparatory committee. Certainly that is my understanding.
Thank you.
How do you want to subside to parties like from the direction that will say that the ANC is actually hijacking this national convention for itself to actually
Well, as journalists, we ought to ask the question, we ought to ask them to provide evidence of the ANC hijacking this process. The ANC is here like all other stakeholders in society. So in the absence of that kind of evidence, it will just become hollow. It becomes the same culture and the same tendency and habit by the right-wing forces, including the extreme right-wing forces in the country, to drag the ANC into any matter, even where we are actually just participating as a political formation that exists in South Africa and is also in government. The ANC has not hijacked any process. We ourselves are going to be making our own submission to the process. The ANC has been insistent that the process must be citizen-led. We stand with those that say the process must be citizen-led. We ourselves are organizing our structures, our branches, all of them, they are going to be participating in this process by making their own submissions within the communities. Remember that there's a process outlined by the TAS team includes going into regions, into provinces, into districts, and as part of that process, structures of the ANC we participate. We need to understand and frown upon the continuing extremism that we see in our country, where any attempt at building national unity, because what this is all about is about national unity. We need to continue to frown upon those attempts. There is nothing in the work of the ANC that would suggest to anyone that we have an upper hand in the preparation for this national dialogue. We are conversing with all others that are participating in the process. The churches are participating in the process. A number of religious formations are participating at the senior level in terms of the preparation. And so we will respect the processes of the national dialogue for as long as it is required.
I do not ask you about the situation with General Rizani Makwani, because in Iran this week he made political statements. What is the ANC's view on that diplomatic dialogue?
Well, we will defer to the state and we defer to the president. The president has expressed his displeasure through the presidency spokesperson Vincent Magwenya. We are following that carefully. We believe that that's a total overreach and to get to matters that are sensitive and matters that don't belong to Defense Force General, but matters that have a lot to do with our international relations and cooperation policies. So obviously we will condone that. Colleagues, thank you very much.